All right,
6:30. You're eating no matter what it is.
You're all set? Yep.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the May 4th, 2026 regular meeting of the Village Board of East Aurora. May I ask you to rise, those of you who are able and would like to join us, for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As much as I would like to go viral, we are not going to ask you to sing the Canadian National Anthem at this time. Start with roll call.
Trustee Lizikis?
Here.
Trustee Cameron?
Here.
Trustee Bujanowski?
Here.
Trustee Camp? Trustee Raby?
Here.
Trustee Root?
Here.
Mayor Wachinski?
Here.
6 present, 1 absent.
We are expecting Trustee Camp to join us as soon as he is done pitching, coaching softball, T-ball. Okay, first thing on the agenda, we have a public hearing in relation to our annual MS4 report. For those of you who have not had a chance to look at it, this is our stormwater report. It is mandatory for the state. So if you have any comments on the MS4 report, it's been online, please step forward. Going to open the public hearing at 7:03.
If you have any comments on the stormwater report, you would be the first person ever.
Okay, seeing no takers, we will close the public hearing at 7:04. Next up, speakers and communications. Anyone who would like to speak on any item that is on the agenda. I will say that Pine Street traffic study, old business 6B, we will allow you to give your thoughts when we get to that point, if that is what you're here for. Anybody else would like to speak on any item on the agenda, please step forward. Okay, seeing no one, we will move on to our consent agenda. Today we have a number of things, the minutes and the payments from the last period, last meeting, permission for the mayor to sign the MS4 report that there were public hearings on, a couple of temporary use permits, one for East Aurora Union Free School, 5th and 6th grade field day, 2 for the Roycroft Campus Corporation, Summer Art and Antique Show on June 27th, Fall Festival October 3rd to 4th, permission for a technology training summit, permission for the mayor or his designee to sign a couple of things, PERMA workers' comp insurance renewal, GIS service renewal, ESRI service renewal, liftoff renewal, and our engagement with the village engineer, BNL, intermunicipal agreement to join ERT contract with the town of Orchard Park. This is just an update from what has been previously there. Budget modifications for the 25-26 fiscal year and surplus properties for an auction. I will like to ask to take off item N, new members of the East Aurora Fire Department. We don't have all the required documents needed, so I'd like to remove that from the consent agenda. Does anyone else want to remove something from the consent agenda for discussion? Okay, seeing no one. I guess all in favor?
We have first and second.
Sorry, you need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Cameron makes the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Raby. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that carries. Next up, we have official considerations. First is to appoint Patrick Rishi and Monique Brannon to the Historic Preservation Commission for a 4-year term ending on April 1st, 2030. Any discussion on this point? Can I get a motion to make that appointment?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Kemp. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Lizikas. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up is to assign Christine Capola to the duties of Fire Department Clerk commencing June 1st, 2026. Any discussion on this item? Can I get a motion to make that appointment?
So moved.
Trustee Camp?
Me.
Ojanowski? Can I get a second?
A second.
Deputy Mayor Root, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have old business. First on the agenda is the local law amending the Village Code, Chapter 112, demolitions. Anyone like to speak on this? Maybe Trustee Bujanowski, a summary of the changes that were made?
Yeah, so we updated the name of it so that it wasn't just about demolitions, but also structural modifications. And then we also amended the 40%, and we had it at 50%, but then also staggered with square footage and going up to 40 and then 30% based off of larger houses. And then the other major thing that we changed, that it wouldn't go to us first and then we send it to HPC. We get them both simultaneously, but then HPC can automatically look at it without us saying, we bring it to you. Those are the biggest.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Any
we did.
questions, comments?
No, just graduate, yeah, we did a graduated tiered thing from 30, 40, was it 30, 50, 60, or 30, 40?
30, 40, 50.
30, 40, 50, depending on the size of the house. And then to expedite the process, goes direct to the HPC before it comes to us to avoid that couple-week lag time. There was another concern brought up that I don't want to delay today's vote because there's a lot of projects on hand, and this may not affect any of those. But for future reference, the size of the lot, the ratio of the house to the size of the lot was brought up at one point, and I feel that maybe down the road, we might be able to add some verbiage to deal with that, to avoid a house that is as large as the lot, to give some green space around the house.
So we can take a look at that. We have to have the updated text by Friday in order to keep our public hearing at the next meeting.
Well, can we just move forward, can we move forward to vote on it and then amend again down the road at a later date?
We can't because we didn't hold the public hearing, so when we got it back, it was not enough time to set the public hearing for this meeting, so it's the following meeting.
I believe Steve just means as a,
No,
as a
I'm
future.
talking, not
year.
for.
So
it's as a
not-
totally
I don't
separate
want to hold
project.
up this process right now because there's a lot of people waiting to get it was 70 degrees today, and I'm sure there's people chomping at the bit to move forward on some of their projects. And I don't want to delay any of those, especially since I don't believe any of those are dealing with a large ratio of house compared to lot.
No, they're not. They're
So,
in scale.
So with that in mind, I want to move forward, but then with also the board keeping in mind, maybe down the road by fall or whatever, before the next building season comes around, we amend it to include some kind of verbiage with that.
That's right.
Sure, yep. And we don't have to do a moratorium if,
No,
No.
not at all, not at all.
I think the board is all aligned. We like this change. We're supportive of it. Really good conversation with the HPC and with the Code Enforcement Office and coming off of the last hearing. And we're very excited to pass this, amend the current code, lift the moratorium in due time. And then this is just another thing that's on the back burner.
absolutely. Okay, so the public hearings are set on the 18th. And again, if anyone has any changes, likely minor, we would need those by Friday to be able to preserve the public hearings with enough time. All right, anything else? Okay, moving on. Next up, we have the Pine Street Traffic Study, and I'd like to start this first with our thoughts on things. For those of you who are not here, the village board spoke about two locations within the village that could potentially benefit from traffic calming measures or new stop signs, both on county roads. The first is the corner of Center and South. For that, a traffic study has been requested. We met this week, so Foreman Stoll, Clerk Treasurer Jurakis, who else was at that meeting? And I, Chief Welch was there. We met with a representative from Erie County to talk about this. It is within the queue. We're probably fourth to seventh in the queue, so there will be that study being conducted. And we also, of course, spoke about Pine Street and the issues there. The county does have a rule that in order to put up a stop sign specifically, they do need to have 200 cars an hour for 8 hours coming in from a side street. So to think about that, you would need 200 cars coming in from East Fillmore in order to put up a stop sign on East Fillmore every hour for 8 hours during the day. In order for the county to proceed with a stop sign there, we asked them if they would be able to do that study on Girard, where it's most likely that they would find that volume, and they're not against that. Second of all, if we as a village would like to put up a crosswalk with, what do we call them? What are they called? The
Hawk
lights?
boxes?
No, what are the lights called on over the crosswalk?
I don't know the technical name, but the pedestrian would press a button, it would illuminate LED flashing lights.
Right.
To tell motorists that people are crossing.
So that is something that we as a village could do. The cost of that would be fairly significant, but not outrageous. About $40,000. You need to have ADA curbs, things like that. The location of that could be decided, but if the study from the stop sign comes in negative, that they would be putting up a stop sign, that is something that's within the village's control. Anything to add from that meeting on this issue? No? So that's where we are currently, and based on this meeting, we wanted to understand the concerns of residents, gather some information, and then think about what we would want to propose to the county moving forward, a stop sign study, and where, and how best to do that. With that, I think if we can open up to comments. Anyone who'd like to speak specifically on this issue, 6B Pine Street traffic study. And if we can limit our thought to 3 minutes.
I'm going to do my best, so I'm going to talk fast. My name's Joanne Ryan. I've been here before. I have a nice diagram that was made that just shows you all the intersections of where our concerns are. At the blind spot at the curve at Porterville and Pine Street, there is now, you can see here Fisher Price, you can see this is Girard, there's going to be 3 homes here. Here is Porterville, this is a nasty blind curve. Here is Lawrence, and obviously, as you can see, there is no type of way to slow traffic down, but more importantly, I'm very concerned about children walking to school as well as the bike bus. So let me just go quickly. We've been talking about this, and I've been here 2 years ago, exactly in May. So we've been working on this, and here are my things. There has been a traffic study before. Erie County said there were no traffic accidents at the curve. I beg to differ because they did airlift people out of there. I've lived on this block right at the corner there for 20-plus years. Just this winter, we had 3 accidents, and 1 included a school bus. So that was very concerning. This summer, Maple Street's going to be reconstructed. I'm very concerned about this, that Pine Street is going to be an alternative route to enter the village. Children taking the school bus used to have to cross Pine Street. Because I came here to the village board and brought it to your attention, I know that Chief Welch met with Brian Russ, and they have changed that, but there is a school bus that is on Pine Street with the lights blinking, et cetera, and little kids get on and off that bus. I'm going to tell you that there are 18-wheelers coming down Pine Street. They download. That's the noise we hear. Okay, that is very dangerous. How can an 18-wheeler stop when there's kids trying to get on a bus? Trust me, I'm very, very concerned about this. Another thing, now we have the village residents coming down Pine Street to throw away all of their yard waste down at the end of the street. The farmers market has been moved. We also are very fortunate that we have a rink that is now used 12 months of the year. We have a great plaza with Ace Hardware, and we also have Blue Eye Baker. All of that traffic now is now in our area. The DPW, I see these big trucks constantly coming up and down Pine Street Extension. I see them every day. It is a very, very dangerous, dangerous intersection. I find it hard to believe that the county says that there has to be 200 vehicles. I question why Parkdale. There's a stop sign on an Erie County road, Maple and Parkdale. I have stood at Parkdale for a long time. Trust me, I've stood there. I don't see 200 cars coming down Parkdale to go into Maple. I also have stood at Linden. And I'm a loser here, that I'm like so concerned about this, that there is not 200 cars coming down Linden for a stop sign on Center.
30
Both
seconds.
Center and Maple are Erie County roads. The other thing I'm very concerned about is the speed of all these cars. Now, we also have 3 new driveways coming in. It's a huge concern. The bike bus is also, these kids are crossing. So I appreciate, Luke, you working very hard for us to find a way to get kids to cross. I understand that they're going to do this, this study. We also had, in November, we started a petition for, on change.org for the village to take over 4/10 of this road so we could control the signage and the speed. We have over 250 signatures right now on that. So, or 238, excuse me, to be exact. We have postcards here that we were going to pass out. We've kind of been on hold because we seem like we're making a little bit of progress, and we appreciate that. So those are our concerns. If anybody has any questions, you guys have seen me, some of you guys have seen me for 2 years, so I'm just really concerned about the safety of our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mo Gavin, 117 Pine Street, Audubon. We have a lot of problems on our street. A night like tonight, last week, a car came down, two cars came down from Porterville racing. 2 white sport cars with occluded windows. I thought there was a law against that too, but I don't know if that is or not. I think we need to get a police some more help, maybe a little more resources. It'd be nice maybe to get some more of those nice slow down, you're going too fast, you know, those kind of things. Maybe we need to buy some those new things. These cars were racing and they went side by side on Pine Street, about 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, passing each other, but one passed the other one. The one pulled in, the other one went around him. I was sitting on my porch watching this, just in total amazement. It's gotten to be a problem. It's not getting any better, especially since the road's been fixed. People tend to use it for the wrong purposes. It's not just a thoroughfare to get someplace, it's become a racetrack. And we really need you to step up and tell the county, I don't know how they come up with these 200 car limits or where that comes from, but the last study was done in December on a Tuesday at 10:45 in the morning for 15 minutes, I believe it was, and they took account and then, you know, extrapolated from that. That's not a good time to do a traffic study. I think we need to tell them, I think we need to stand up and say, you're wrong. We need help. We need help. And we need to be proactive, not reactive, before someone gets hurt. Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Lexi Best. I live on Porterville, right when the curve kind of hits in the straightaway there. Chief Welch, thank you for chatting with me about that. Bear with me, 3 minutes, I'll do that. I'm here tonight to respectfully suggest that the time has come for East Aurora to take ownership of Pine Street from the county so we can implement these necessary changes as needed. Pine Street is where we walk our dogs, where our children dodge cars to cross the street to school. It's where too many of us have witnessed all these dangerous speeding incidents that don't seem to be taken seriously by the county, specifically at that curve where Pine turns to Porterville. As daily pedestrians, we do feel unsafe. I think part of the issue is the signage. So coming from the north into the village, the transition goes from 35 miles per hour to a yellow 20 mile per hour advisory, and then right to a 30 mile per hour located very closely afterwards. So it's pretty confusing coming into the village. From the south out of the village, there's a 20 mile per hour advisory sign placed slightly before Girard. So only drivers really coming down Pine Street have a clear view of that sign. Drivers turning left off of Girard, they don't have a prominent view of it. They come around the bend without any prompt to slow down. They turn the curve, see the 35-mile-an-hour sign at the town line in the distance, and they just floor it. So we can work together as the village on some of these practical improvements. We don't need to wait and see if our lived experience meets the county's threshold. Improvement ideas like consistent 30-mile-per-hour speed at the village line, clearly posting an enforceable 20-mile-per-hour around the curve, extending the sidewalk to the village line so that it wraps that Pine Street to Porterville curve, more visible curve warning signs, directional arrows, pedestrian signage like slow, watch for children. These are common sense fixes that don't necessarily halt traffic flow, they just add precautions. Enforcement helps too, and I'd like to offer my driveway to EAPD for radar enforcement, since it's unsafe to really pull over anywhere else right around that area. Beyond speeding, there are huge gaps in safety access, so students all living east of Pine Street, they don't have a convenient way to cross Pine Street. I think we've made the point here, besides going all the way up to Main Street. So children walking from all the neighborhoods, East Fillmore, Warren, Lawrence, Porterville, all those neighborhoods, their parents don't have that extra assurance that their kiddos have the safeguard of a simple crosswalk. That's a pretty meaningful safety issue, I think. So these risks us residents are living must be a priority for the village. We need to circumvent the necessity of getting county approval. We need ownership of Pine Street. Local control means local accountability, and we can act before something worse happens, not after. My 4-year-old is learning how to ride a bike. My 1-year-old just started walking. I'm fearful of an accident. Our children deserve more protections. Our taxes warrant more protections. And us parents deserve peace of mind. Thank you. I hope I stayed under 3 minutes.
I'm going to sit. First, congratulations to all the new trustees. Many of you heard me before on this subject, but
So just state your name and address.
my name is Jerry Thompson. I live at 162 Pine, which is the house directly across from Girard Avenue. And I think it's important that when we are discussing traffic studies or directing a county agency, we need to stay focused on the specific issue at hand. I think Pine Street in some ways is being mischaracterized. To provide context, Pine Street in the most recent traffic studies has 4,090 vehicles per day. Historically, it carried closer to 5,600 in the late 1990s and early 2000s. But since the decline of Fisher-Price as a major employer, traffic has dropped to 75% of those levels. When compared to other major ingress-egress streets into the village, I know we're focused on Pine today, but Main Street carries 12,421 cars per day. Buffalo Road with no stop sign, 9,876. East Main, no stop sign, 8,082. Maple, 7,142. Center, 5,930. Olean, 5,500. Mill Road, walking past my office, has 45 cars a day, no sidewalks for the seniors coming in from Woodbrook or Fair Lawn and Beach. None. The concerns about pedestrian traffic, I understand. However, most pedestrian movement on Pine Street is north and south. It's from Porterville to Main, Main to Porterville. There's not an elementary school on the street. There's only one park on Warren, and there is unimpeded visual access because there is no parking on the street at Girard, at Warren, at Fillmore. So when crossing the street most times of the day, looking to the right, looking to the left, you clearly see any of the cars coming around the corner. It is important to recognize that Pine Street is also, in a lot of this argument, I've seen the press, I've seen the news, I've seen this, there's a little stigmatization of one of the most historic streets of East Aurora. We have some of the most historic and older housing in the streets in the history, and I think some of the traffic concerns are exaggerated. However, as a kind of a conclusion, I do acknowledge there is a problem at the corner of Porterville and Pine. I think the traffic studies need to focus on the inbound traffic coming into that corner, because that's where, when Ms. Ryan lays out her things, the accidents occur where you see the blinking lights, is cars exceeding the speed limit they should, coming into the corner too fast, sliding off into where the new Alliance home may be, into that yard. Or, I heard tonight, I talked to a friend and a client who's already
30
spoken,
seconds.
and they explained leaving the village the signage is confusing as well. You cannot see that the corner is being directed at 20 miles an hour, especially if you're coming off of there. If you drive down Girdle, the signage changed. From Girdle to Porterville changed to 35. There's a sign that directs you to go to 20, and then there's another sign that directs you to go to 30. So if you follow the speed limit coming in Porterville, you accelerate, decelerate, accelerate, slide off the corner. So I don't have any particular problem with traffic calming. I don't have any particular problem with crosswalks. I do think that the National Engineers study would tell you that the first thing you don't place a stop sign in the street for is to control speed.
3 minutes?
It will only impact speed for 100 and 150 feet. And having lived on Oakwood Avenue when our children were young, I can attest to the stop sign, hit it, accelerate, stop sign, hit it, accelerate. I think keeping the flow of traffic would be a better solution, but I do encourage you to study that corner directly at Porterville and Pine. I think it's a Porterville issue. I don't think it's a Pine Street issue per se. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. I'd like to speak to that corner of Porterville and Pine.
Name and address, so we have it on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm Allison Hyde. I live at Stonegate, but I came here in 1970, and I lived 50 years on Dorchester Road, which is between Lawrence and Porterville. And the only way out of my way, Lawrence Avenue comes to Pine Street. So we were in a beautiful house, 50 years. However, we only were able to get out of that little area by Lawrence Avenue to Pine or Dorchester to Porterville. I lived there for 50 years before I moved to Stonegate. We found the perfect house there, the perfect neighborhood. We soon discovered, however, the very dangerous curve there at Porterville and Pine, where cars whip around the corner so fast that you are taking your life in your hands if you're trying to walk out or drive out. You have to be so careful, either on foot or on wheels. Turning on Porterville or Pine was really dangerous. An angry neighbor who was watering her garden would use the garden hose on the speeding cars down Porterville. I sympathized with her, and I hoped it would work. Our favorite place to walk to was Sinking Ponds, of course, on Pine Street Extension. Well, we took our lives in our hands crossing that corner area, but there was no choice. Our children walked to Fiddler's to spend their allowance money, glad for a sidewalk, but crossing at Fiddler's parking lot was challenging. It will be even worse when houses are built on the corner of Girard and Pine, adding to more corners, more traffic, more coming and going. I plead with the village board to find ways, whether through traffic lights, crosswalks, or whatever, will make this extremely difficult and dangerous place safe for village residents and visitors. Thank you very much.
Hi, first of all, thank you. Lynn Camara, 170 Pine Street. I live at the corner of Pine and Lawrence, and contrary to what my neighbor said, Girard ends at our house. I can personally attest to that because we've lived there 51 years, and we've had numerous times where cars wound up on our front lawn because they went through that stop sign. So it ends in front of our house. The other thing is I walk down to Sinking Ponds most mornings, and I've had some fairly hazardous experiences. From the corner of Lawrence and Pine, you cannot see what's coming around the bend. And even when you cross to the next driveway, the sidewalk has not been continued, I understand, because it was county property, so that you can't actually, from the first driveway down, see what's coming across. And what I have found in the morning when I walk, which is early, very early, you would think traffic is not a problem. But because there's not a lot of traffic, people are just speeding around that corner early in the morning. And it's extremely dangerous. I've had some close calls, especially now that it's lighter. You can't see the lights, the headlights coming. But overall, just the thought of Pine Street from Maine all the way to Porterville not having a safe place to cross. It's really hard to believe, and I compliment you for the progress that we're making here, and I think we're all on the same plate, and I appreciate your work, and I hope we make this a safer community for all of us. Thank you.
Michelle Parrish, 854 Lawrence Avenue. I've been here before, too. I'm representing two people. I have Emily, who could not be here tonight, so I'm going to read something she wrote. But first, I want to add, too, I live on Lawrence, so I'm up Lawrence a little bit. But when we come out, you just can't see either direction. They're flying around this corner here, and up here we have a berm. The road goes up. You cannot see a car coming. Many times I've pulled out, and when I pull out, oops, oh, there's the car right there coming. It's very difficult. So you need to fly. You need to look very quickly, both directions, and then get your butt across there onto Girard, which is going to become another lovely situation when we have 3 more driveways there. Now I'm flying my butt through there, and I might have to put the brakes on because somebody might be backing out of a driveway. So it really is a mess. I appreciate the work you're doing. I'm really thrilled to hear earlier what you have started. As far as traffic studies, hilarious. You know, I look at Tim Hortons and I'm thinking, well, that was a really good traffic study. That went beautifully. You know, and we've had heard they did a traffic study there, and it's like, are you kidding? All these people are repeating the same thing. I know you're getting tired of hearing it. But obviously, when there's this many people talking who live there every day and deal with it every day, there's an issue. There's a problem. And it's ridiculous that all the kids on that side of Pine Street, when they want to cross, there's no crosswalk. They'd have to walk all the way up to Main Street. Well, that's ridiculous, especially when Vidler's is right in the middle, kind of. Anyway, all right, now I'm going to speak for Emily Moore. She wrote a letter. She lives on Pine Street. She's at 77 Pine Street. She's kitty corner from Warren Avenue. She has 4 children. Now, that situation, she was having trouble with that. They were crossing the road in the morning to get the bus on Warren Avenue. Little kids, ridiculous. You guys fixed that. That got straightened out with the buses, right, Joanne? That got straightened out. So that's lovely. But she says here, Dear Village Board members, I apologize that I'm unable to attend tonight's board meeting due to an unexpected lack of childcare. My husband and I have 4 young children, ages 2, 4, 6, and 8, and we live at 77 Pine Street. I am writing to respectfully request the installation of a stop sign on Pine Street to improve safety for residents and pedestrians. We have lived on Pine Street for 11 years and have consistently experienced speeding vehicles, including 18-wheel trucks, and a concerning lack of regard for pedestrians attempting to cross. This concern is made worse by the fact that there are currently no stop signs or crosswalks along this stretch of road. Since the reconstruction of Pine Street in 2025, traffic speeds have increased significantly. The newly paved road has resulted in vehicles traveling at high speeds at all hours of the day. In addition to speeding, we frequently hear vehicles revving their engines and accelerating aggressively as they travel down Pine Street. At times, it truly feels as though we are living alongside a high-speed racetrack rather than on a residential village street. As a result, we no longer feel it is safe for our children to play outside, ride bikes, or play basketball in our driveway due to the very real danger of fast-moving traffic and large trucks. Our home is located next door to Muse Jar Art Shop, which brings steady foot traffic, including children. We are also across from Warren Drive, where many families frequently cross Pine Street to reach Warren Park Playground. We have witnessed pedestrians waiting several minutes to cross safely because vehicles do not slow down or yield. We urge the board to consider conducting an updated traffic study, a good one, I might add, and installing a stop sign along Pine Street before a serious accident occurs. We would be happy to discuss this concern further at any time. Thank you for your consideration and for your efforts to keep our community safe. Respectfully, Emily Moore. Thank you.
Thank you. In addition to Emily Moore's letter, I just would like to say that we did receive a letter from Kim DePerno. I can read that here. I'm writing in support of the concerns of my longtime neighbors Lynn Camara, Joanne Ryan, and Shelby Deck. As longtime residents of this corner of the village, we are very familiar with the challenges of safely crossing Pine Street as pedestrians. Additionally, we are all concerned that our village code allows 3 homes and driveways to be built in an area that is already unsafe. We are most grateful to the county for making much-needed repairs to Pine Street. Unfortunately, the surface is so smooth that it has increased the speed in which drivers drive down Pine Street, and it is clear that something must be done to make it safe for pedestrians to cross Pine and to slow down the traffic for families with young children living along Pine Street. When my children were younger and we would ride our bikes down Lawrence on our way to the library, it was very dangerous to attempt to cross Pine Street to Girard as vehicles speed around that blind curve. I often had to take the kids all the way up to Main Street instead. It is clear that our village needs a master plan for pedestrian safety. We are a village that prides itself on being walkable, and with the recent improvements to Pine Street and future improvements on Maple Street, this is our chance to make sure Erie County does it right. When Maple Road is under construction this summer, drivers will reroute themselves to Bowen or alternately Westblood, Girdle, Porterville, and Pine to get to the village. This will no doubt exacerbate the already unsafe conditions in this corner of the village. Whether we petition the county to put a stop sign at Warren Street or a crosswalk/stop sign at Lawrence, I will leave to your final decision. There are certainly experts in walkability that we could hire to help our village devise a comprehensive plan. As a small business owner, I am fortunate that after weighing my options, I can make an informed decision rather quickly. As mayor, you have more voices and bureaucratic red tape to deal with that can slow down a decision. Thank you for listening to longtime residents' concerns and acting swiftly as possible to petition the county to ensure that the wonderful job they started on Pine Street is finished with proper measures taken to ensure the safety of our village residents. I didn't read that in advance, so I didn't know the mayor stuff, but okay. And I would like to encourage, someone said that we've heard it before, even if you come up for just 2 seconds to say you support or don't support certain changes, that is important for us to note as we continue talks with the county. So.
Good evening. Rose Colomile, 240 Pine Street, on Pine Street Extension. I just want to concur with Joanne and all the members that have come here. Myself and my spouse, we're walkers. We're senior citizens, we're retired. No one has really spoken up about the people that want to walk in the walkable community. It's very important. If I want to go across Pine Street Extension, I have no safe place to cross. Jerry Thompson, I respectfully disagree with you. I think it's a very dangerous intersection at Lawrence. It really is. You cannot cross safely. I did my own little mini observation study over the weekend at the corner of Lawrence, and I found that 5 cars went right through the stop sign. They rolled through it. 5 cars stopped completely. Other people came down Pine, made the curve to Porterville at a huge rate of speed. This is not a new occurrence. Last Saturday, the troopers got a kid at 140 miles an hour in the 400 going down Pine Street to Pine Street Extension, followed by a trooper, followed by an East Aurora police officer, where they caught him. So that's dangerous. I mean, I agree. It needs to be safe for everybody. And so I would respectfully hope that you guys can come to a conclusion, do a study, a traffic study, instead of the lady sitting in the driveway of Fisher Price the day I saw her and I asked her what was she doing, a traffic study with a clicker. Now, come on. So I do appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
My name is Mary Reed. I live on Center Street. I'm not going to give my exact address because when I spoke at the town board, we suffered intimidation for the 2 weeks after of people at our stop sign revving engines and then speeding up the rest of Center. And when they're done racing down Pine Street, they come to Center about 8:30 or 9:30 on Saturday and race up Center and South Street, and we hear them circling the village. with small cars, very loud exhausts. I know that on Center, we've seen a 20% increase in traffic over the last 10 years, and majority of it is normal cars. There's construction, for the most part, they are not a problem. I drive into Buffalo, they come during the day, but the speeding of, once you leave the last stop sign in the village, up the hill, the loud exhausts, the racing, I wouldn't even try and cross Center around those stop signs because we hear so many cars beeping during the day that are running the stop sign. People who stop at the stop sign get honked by people who don't want them to stop, to come to a complete stop. And so Center Street, has really been a problem. I've, written to the mayor several times about it. We really, in Orchard Park, there's a lot more enforcement, and you see cars going a normal speed. And so we saw one of the police cars at the top of Center by the high school with a radar gun, and it was fantastic. It was the first time we'd seen that, and that is exactly the kind of enforcement that we need as people go south on Center. It was really a refreshing thing to see because we think that if we really start to enforce people running stop signs, people speeding out of the village, that we're going to be able to see a change. But, the last time we spoke at the town, we were told there were 7 tickets given out after we spoke. And that was really a refreshing improvement. And so I encourage both the police force and the village. I have no opinion about a stop sign on South Street, but I really think that Center is a critical artery, but it's being used as a raceway, and it is unsafe and very loud. And so I think if we want to maintain the quality of life in East Aurora, it's places like this, Center, Pine, where we really have to protect the citizens. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Maggie Mars, 744 Lawrence Avenue. I am just saying we really do need help there. I agree with what Lynn has said. I agree with what Joanne has said. I am one house in from the corner, and no matter how careful I am, you're creeping out to take a left onto Pine, you're starting to pull out. Somebody is whipping around that corner and laying their horn on you because they're not slowing down. You have just a few seconds to try to cross over. It looks good, you're fine, and all of a sudden someone's whipping up right alongside you. I don't know if a speed bump, is that something that's considerable? I don't know if that's something that could maybe work. We need to be able to cross safely there. 30 years, 4 kids, 2 dogs trying to cross there, walking kids to school. I'm telling you, it would make a huge difference for all the young families moving in there, and I just know you'll do the right thing, and I really appreciate you all listening.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave Perazini. I actually emailed yesterday, we talked a little. 341 South Street, which is the corner of Center and South. And we can regurgitate everything going on. That's all true, the speeding cars. I know the car she's talking about. You can hear them whirl around out. We have a school bus, the same thing on Center. We have 7 kids from Linden to South on the west side. They all have to cross the street where the speeding is going on from Linden and get on the bus the opposite side of the street. Now, these houses sit higher than the road. Sooner or later, a ball is going to roll out. And like she said, when they leave Linden, they just floor it. If you go 30, they're right on your tail, they're beeping. Today we heard screeching, we heard beeping, screeching tires, beeping as people. We see people go around, people going into the Legion Hall is over a 90-degree turn. It's a 45-mile-an-hour speed. People cross the double yellow on their, on the horn, this and that. It's just a crazy situation. And then, like the gentleman here said, to say 200 cars an hour is a stop sign, that intersection I actually worked for the state DOT as a civil engineer for 38 years designing roads. And this, I wouldn't even know where to start with this. It seems like it needs a major project. The Portage area, same thing. I agree with you 100% going through there. But this intersection's actually, when you add in South Street, is close to 7,500 cars a day. Doing 200 cars an hour, you can go out there, like you said, 10:45. You might get 100 cars an hour on Center even. You come at the 2 to 3 hours beginning in it. So if there's 7,000 cars a day and there's only 100 an hour, what does that tell you is happening the 2 rush hours? You're getting more than, you can, 3,000-4,000 cars within 3 hours. And some of the other things is all geometric, same with their problem, is you come up a hill heading into the village. South Street people cannot see those cars, so they pull out partially into the Center Street lane to see if anybody's coming. So now they go over, they tend to cross the double yellow, that car goes around, then you get this, what do you call it, road rage type atmosphere of people passing and jumping and this and that. And then working for the DOT, I know you said there's a 200, whatever, we would justify things we felt were safety concerns all the time to Albany, to the federal government. You just write it up and say, we feel this is beyond normal, we need this and this and this. It's not unusual. I hear you brought up the stop signs for speed control. That's true. You cannot use stop signs for speed control. You can do that if there's safety concerns. We did it a number of times. You can cite school buses, kids crossing over, non-crosswalks. Trying to be in there 3 minutes. So there's also one of the few areas of the village without sidewalks or walkable shoulders. The sidewalks stop
30
at South
seconds.
Street. The village goes past the Legion Hall to the condos. There's no sidewalks. People walk with traffic. I mow the lawn standing in the street over there. South Street, County Road, okay, for pedestrians to be on a shoulder legally, you need 4 to 6 feet of shoulder. It's an 18-inch shoulder at the most. And there's people jogging, walking all the time. The same thing. You want this pedestrian-friendly community, yet at this end of the village, it's kind of almost, what do you call it, both ends of the village opposite. They're at the north other end, we're at the south
3
other
minutes.
end. Seem to be ignored frequently. Like somebody told me, we don't have restaurants, we don't have parks, we don't have art shops. So we get ignored. The guy across the street from us, Jay, has been there 15 years. He said he's come here a number of times. His kids always played in the backyard. Your kids can't play in the front yard, like she said. They're just afraid of, someday a kid's going to chase the ball out in the street. Somebody's ignoring the speed limit. Just the stop sign just would help so much to control the whole area, is what I'm saying.
Thank you.
One of the weird, okay, one more, okay? One of the weird things is when people come out of South to make a left, they have to pull way out. Buses, which come, we have 8 school districts use South Street for school buses. They can't make the turn on the South Street if that car is sticking out trying to see who's coming from the south. So now you have that jam up, the bus can't turn, traffic backs up. He can't see out to make his left turn. So for a while, it's just at a standstill. And then the traffic backs up both ways, and then you get the honking horns, and heard a lot of good words sitting on my porch. But okay, that's about it.
Thank you.
My name is Penny Messinger. I live at 365 Center Street. We've lived there for over 20 years. One of the big reasons we moved to East Aurora is walkability and the support for children. We had 2 young children at that point. The sidewalk stops about a block north of us, so I go out for a walk almost every day, and it usually entails walking in the yard until I get to the sidewalk. As other people have mentioned, the corner of South and Center is particularly dangerous. I always am very concerned at this time of year when you have a lot of new drivers driving up the road to get to the high school and back. There's a lot more traffic than there was 20 years ago because of the developments over on Mill and other places, and so people, they cut through, they come into the village, they fly down the hill from the high school area, down Center Street. Don't want to lose any of their momentum, so they get down to the bottom and they come back up, right? So they speed coming in and out of the village. It's not unusual to be tailgated as I'm trying to turn into my driveway and to have people passing on the other side of the street. The speed limit in front of our house is literally 30 miles per hour because the sign for 45 is in our yard, right? So they're speeding coming in, they're speeding going out. There's a lot of noise problems. I think one of the things about Pine Street, South Street, Center Street, there's really a need for the village to think about the walkability for these areas that are really part of the village. I mean, I'm in the village. I've paid village taxes for over 20 years. Right? One of the things I would really love to have is a sidewalk in front of my house. The Legion needs to be connected as well, right? And so this is an issue on all different aspects of the village. You know, I think that there are things that many communities can do and have done, and I would like to see ours do that. And I appreciate this conversation as well. Thank you.
Hello, Stephen Smith. I live with her, so I won't give the address for the same reason. What I think I'm hearing is that East Aurora is having a speeding and noise issue on its ingress and outgress main arterial roads. Sure, Pine, Center Street are the ones I can think of. South Street I hear as well myself. I would caution about throwing stop signs everywhere to people that want them. I live at a stop sign. It'll increase the noise outside your house dramatically. Even a minivan gassing it and flooring it makes a lot of noise. And I think, as we all know, stop signs have become less and less observed since a certain sort of viral thing hit us. I did do a little bit of research about traffic, speeds and noise and things. And it seemed to me there were three ways of looking at traffic. There's kind of calming traffic, which is a way of just sort of slowing things down. These are designs to change the way people drive into the village, narrowing of roads, possibly speed bumps, putting in center lanes and bollards and that kind of stuff, all of which things have been effective in other cities. There are feedback ways of looking at things. These are obviously increasing the size and the frequency of speed signs. Safety cameras, I guess, are contentious, but there are also the signs that kind of flash up and put your speed and the actual speed you should be going. I believe they're fairly effective, and I think we have some mobile ones around that we can use around the village. Maybe some more, and using them more often would be kind of nice, and especially in the areas that we're looking at. And then we've got obviously changes in speed limits on the roads. The introduction of stop signs where we really think they're necessary, but as a lot of people have indicated, they're not really a means of controlling speed. They're just a means of stopping cars before they just kind of hit the gas again. And there are a lot of stop signs in East Aurora, so I think people don't really pay attention to them. We can change traffic patterns by trying to route vehicles in different ways and things. And obviously that we can come down to basic law enforcement of just sort of maybe targeting areas for, you know, one particular thing. So targeting Center and Linden would make me very happy, but obviously the same with Pine and that kind of stuff. So I think we were going to have a traffic survey many years ago on Center Street. It never happened. I actually called up and chased them down after it. They didn't even know about it. And as people have pointed out, sitting there with a clicker at 10 o'clock in the morning isn't a realistic way of doing it. So for the village to get the message to the county that the traffic surveys have to be effective, and I've seen in the media that the village is considering taking social media sort of input from many of the members of the community as a backup and a sort of increasing awareness and stuff. I think that's probably a good idea. People can make statements that way that people will listen to. But I'd just say, you know, knee-jerk reactions won't really fix anything. We have an issue on these arterial roads, but you know, the village is growing, it's getting bigger, the town centre's getting bigger, more people are coming for the bars, the shops and the restaurants. We're going to see more and more traffic. Unfortunately, we're seeing some traffic that we don't like and that we don't want. And I would just ask you, Mr. Mayor, what our 5 to 10 year plan for traffic management in the village is, and whether we can kind of get that published so that we in the community can kind of see where we're all going cohesively. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. This is the first time I've had to move a microphone up. No. It's pretty good. Sue Brazil, 690 Girard Avenue. Apparently the only one on Girard that feels really upset about this. But I am in the house right next to the project that is going to be going on there. One of the things that I'm very concerned about is the safety of that corner. I can see it from my bedroom window. I can watch all the activity going on there, but even more so, I can pull out the end of my driveway and have to wait for a great long period of time while people come flying around the corner, not only from Porterville, but from Pine the other way. One morning on the way to work, I was there at the end of the driveway at 7:30, and it was 7:40 before I got out of my driveway safely, because there were just cars zooming, and then they'd zoom, and then you got to turn around and watch the curve behind me coming from where Fisher Price is. So it's going to be a problem in the future as well, because you're going to have several more driveways with several more people wanting to get out, and lots of cars stopping them from doing so too. So I hope that you will continue to do what you're doing, and I thank you for doing such a great job. But it's very, very unsafe there. Not even in my car, just watching out my driveway. People standing for a very long time trying to get across the street. Fisher Price daycare with their little buggy and all their little cute little people walking down that sidewalk are at risk for someone missing that curb and coming over onto the sidewalk. So thank you for considering it, and I hope you come up with a great solution for us all.
Philip Payne at 365 Center Street, and I just want to reinforce what everybody else has been saying about Center Street, particularly south, especially when you go out in the morning when the school traffic's there. Like, that is just very congested, and then people come down the hill really fast, and so I think it's probably like, yeah, if you drive 30 miles per hour when we pull off our driveway, it's just not safe because somebody will come right up behind you. So.
Hi, and I'm Sally Mitchell, and I'm at 206 Center Street. And I am here to concur with Joanne Ryan, Allison Hyde, Lynn Camara, Mo Gavin, and others who spoke in favor of the stop sign at Pine and Porterville. Wonderful idea. That is absolutely necessary. I also am a Center Street resident, so that I do observe the traffic on Center Street is really bad and has increased. I've lived there for 17 years, and one thing that is a good thing that happened I think probably maybe 12 years ago, I don't know, Mr. Lazikas can concur, or can make sure that I'm right about my dates. A stop sign was placed at Prospect and Center Street. Prior to that, there was no stop sign between Linden and I think all the way up to Oakwood, and there was terrible racing of cars between those two stop signs. So a stop sign in between did serve to calm the traffic. It was very noticeable. It was helpful. I know there's still huge problems on Center Street. The South Street issue is, I definitely agree. But I was wondering if perhaps looking at the study that was prepared prior to putting in the stop signs at Prospect and Center, whenever that was, I would say 12 years maybe, whatever the village went through, I guess, and it's a county road, right, to put that stop sign in might be helpful in the case of Porterville and Pine Street, just to see, what the thinking was prior to putting those stop signs in. But again, I concur. Please put a stop sign at Porterville and Pine. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you so much for coming. We really, really appreciate your comments and you being here. And even though the trustees may want to kill me for that, I think they appreciate deep down as well, everybody coming forward. At this point, we can open it up to the board to hear your thoughts on the issue.
I'd have to concur with you as far as the 12 to 15 years. The first day that sign went up, Sally, it was, I burned right through it, and I got stopped. Drinking my coffee, going, where did that come from? So, and I've been in that home for over 30 years now, or 30, just about 30 years. Pretty much a lifelong resident, came and left for school in one other town, but the traffic has grown immensely, and development has definitely spurred that, and it is an issue. What the answer is, I'm not quite sure, but I do align with all the thoughts that, you know, it's fast and not safe. I do take walks with grandchildren and my dogs, and I've seen it. So, not quite sure what the answer is, but I appreciate your concerns.
I mean, I can add, I think a lot of the points that were made, we certainly understand. There's a lot of other parts in the village that we're also looking at, together with the people who do have the answers. I know from my previous time on the board that it's not just about requesting a study. We do need to make sure that the information is given to the people doing the study or who may be on a different government level. And so I hope that you can feel that we are your conduit to people who are making the decisions on our behalf. One thing I'd like to point out is that the Bike and Pedestrian Committee has been recompromised, and they are now meeting weekly, I can't believe, but they're meeting weekly. And they are considering these types of issues and the type of studies that we may be able to do within the village if we find funds, because I do think that the community does want a bikeable, walkable community. I'd also say that we are in discussions with the county to convert the feasibility study funds given for the property on Girard that was purchased by the village into a comprehensive plan for the community, which would have a robust public input, in which we can have some of the background data that we need to prove that the walkability and bikeability issues are important to this community, and also to use that to begin to develop our 10-year, 20-year plan of how we want to develop as a community. And I think several, if not all, of the members on the village board believe strongly that we live in the village because we want to be able to walk and bike, and we want it to be more safe. And so we'll take your concerns. We'll continue to communicate, but feel free to get in touch with us if you have any issues moving forward or information you think that we should know as we move forward. Can't promise it'll be quick, but we are working on it.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to that is that Chelsea and I are the board liaisons to the Pedestrian and Bike Safety Committee. They've met once. I think we eclipsed 2 hours, and we got halfway through their brainstorm. So there's a lot of energy on this topic. It's probably the thing I heard most during the campaign. It's the thing I've heard most since we've been on the board. The energy here tonight is representative of that, too. It's wonderful. To the mayor's point, it's going to take considerable effort and diligence to get it done. We're committed to doing that. It's going to be part of a longer conversation about the future of the village and how we want to develop. But these meetings are incredibly important for us to be able to capture the issues, the possibilities, to be able to take this to the people who can make decisions and implement them. This is the forum for us to be able to hear those things. And again, that board is serving a great purpose too. So again, continue to be loud about it and continue to bring us the problems, and we'll try to find the solutions that work for the community.
I also have to thank Chief Welsh and the East Aurora Police Department for participating in that committee. They've been at all of the meetings so far, and I think that shows the importance to the community of what our police department and how strongly they believe that these are important issues. Also, I've driven with Jeff in a truck, and he drives no faster than 10 miles an hour down Pine Street, so he's doing his part as well. In 8, speakers and communications, so we'll just wait a little bit. Anybody else?
Yeah, one thing I would add is that I definitely agree with everything that's being said, but I don't want it to be a Band-Aid for like, if you're going to stop people from racing in one spot, they'll race in another spot. So that's another, like, cultural shift or mindset that we also need to focus on when that's like either the comprehensive plan or like what we can work on in terms of stopping it from happening it elsewhere. Because if you're going to cut it off one spot, they'll find another spot in East Aurora.
Right. I mean, if you're going to deal with an issue, blast the whole Death Star and get rid of it, right?
Exactly. Thank you. May the 4th be with you.
Well, I think, to that point, too, I think for those areas in particular, like, around the edges of the village, it would make sense for us to work more closely with the town, where we've seen some of those issues in the town that may spill over into the village, or issues at the edge of the village that, okay, if we stop them from racing in the village, they're just going to race in the town. Kind of get together on all this stuff with the county and see how we can all solve this.
Okay.
Consistent signage, too. I mean, jumping up and down on, that Porterville situation that's confusing and maybe enhances that issue.
Okay, thank you. With that, I think we can move to new business, 7A. And with us today, we have Nicholas Pinzioni.
Close enough. I'm wrong.
It's my handwriting and pronunciation. It's a double whammy. So some background here. The village board is aware of a number of issues that are facing our water supply system. Unlike communities around us, we have a village water department handling the supply. Not the supply, but the distribution. The previous administration began a study, and we are here as it's finished, and wanted to make sure that the community understood the serious issues facing our water distribution system. It's not a great conversation, but it is one that we need to have as a community as we move forward. So today we have representatives, you can introduce yourself, who have worked on this report to provide us the as-is and what we may be able to do with our water supply, our water distribution system.
No.
Use my dad voice if I wasn't on. I have 3 kids. So good evening. My name's Nick Pizzino. I'm from Barton and La Judas. With me is Camden Worley, one of our staff engineers. Like the mayor mentioned, a couple of months back, we received an agreement with the village to go through and assess the condition of the existing water system, the distribution piping, process tanks, pump station, and basically all of your assets. Just from a perspective of what is the condition of the current assets? How long do they have left before everything has to be replaced? What's not up to code? Took a chance to look at all of that. Tonight, I'm just going to give you a snapshot of what we found out, where this is going over the immediate term, and where it could be going over the next, 10 to 20 years in terms of a capital plan. So, just to bring you up to speed. The existing village water system is old. You have some areas where there are water mains that are over 100 years old. That's older than me. And we have age-related deterioration in a lot of places. And the biggest concern is that you have areas where the mains are undersized. And when I say undersized, I mean for code and for fire protection. So according to the New York State Health Department, any mains that are below 6 inches do not carry adequate fire protection. So that's going to be a theme that you'll hear coming up through as we go through the next couple of slides. In addition, in terms of maintenance, in speaking with your staff in the village that maintain the water mains, we see pretty frequent water main breaks, especially increasing over the last couple of years. And that costs all of you money because the village purchases all of its water from the Erie County Water Authority. So every break can result in thousands of dollars lost. So we were hired to develop what's called the preliminary engineering report. Don't let that term fool you. What we're doing is developing a business case. If we're going to package together a capital project, which is the most efficient way to do this, we need to put together a convincing business case that will allow us to go out and help the village seek some funding so that the financial burden doesn't fall to all the residents. You can go ahead and go to the next one. So we went through the initial study. That process involved not only going out and visiting the various assets in the system, but working with Brian and working with Jeff, going through getting their knowledge, going through all of the old drawings of the system, and basically just doing our best to assess, based on age, maintenance records, and everything we could find, the condition of your existing system. We're going to present those results tonight. And then coming out of here, the next step is to go through an environmental review, pass a bond resolution. Don't get confused by that term. You cannot go out and get funding for any project unless you pass a bond resolution. It just shows the village's willingness to take on debt in the future if you do a capital project.
In the water fund.
Yeah, right. And then go through the idea of finding grant money and then what the next steps would be from there. So Camden Worley, as I mentioned before, was the staff engineer on the project. She's just going to run through the next couple of slides that'll talk about the existing water system, how we categorize the project, and then what the project would look like in the future.
All right, cool. Thank you, Nick. First up, this is just a visualization of what your current water system looks like. This is every street, every water main in the system, kind of color-coded by main size. So I would bring attention to the red. You can see there's a couple of streets, or a bunch of streets that have red, which is water mains that are 4 inches or smaller. So those ones we were talking about before, those are not up to code to health department standards, so that'd be like a priority to look at. We can go to the next slide. This is another visualization, another color coding. This time it's based on the material of the mains. You guys might see asbestos. I know it's a scary word, but don't worry. Asbestos cement is an old material used in water mains. It's not dangerous for use in water main. Asbestos is only dangerous when it's airborne, so don't be scared there. But we can see a lot of the system is made out of cast iron, which is an old material that we don't use anymore in water mains. It's very susceptible to breaks and to age-related deterioration, so we'd be looking at replacing those mains as well. That'd be a priority. Next slide. And now this is the mains by year of installation. We mentioned earlier some are over 100 years old, so there are a few that were installed in the 1920s, a fair amount that were installed in the 1930s, and then from there on, break it down by decade. Next slide. This is just a little look at some of the other infrastructure. Obviously, we don't have any pictures of the water mains as they are underground, but the village has 2 water tanks, one on Center Street and one on Castle Hill. So that's what they're looking like. We'll look into the vaults there. There's also a booster pump station on Elmwood Ave because some of the houses there are above the elevation of the water tank. So next slide. So we came up with a few different project alternatives. Some are more extensive than others onto how we could look into starting to remedy and rehabilitate the village water system. First alternative is alternative 1. This is like the smallest amount, the least extensive alternative. So this would call for the replacement of all water mains under 6 inches in diameter, replacing them with 8-inch ductile iron, ideally. So this would be 37,000 linear feet of water main, so fairly extensive. This is a large system. This also calls for repainting and a few miscellaneous repairs and rehabilitation steps on the water storage tanks, as well as replacing that booster pump station on Elm with something a little more powerful. Like we mentioned earlier, this is just to comply with DOH standards. If the village ever wanted to put the system under control of the Erie County Water Authority, this would be a step you would have to take. You would have to get those water mains replaced and at least up to 6 inches in diameter or larger. Alternative 2, this is going to add on some extra work from alternative 1. Calls for everything in alternative 1, as well as the replacement of all of the asbestos cement piping, just 'cause that gets very brittle and easy to break when it's old. And it's a little hazardous if you're repairing it due to the risks of airborne asbestos. So yeah, that's alternative 2. Alternative 3, building off of those ones, it's everything we mentioned before, and also replacement of all mains greater than 70 years old. So this would bring us up to 100,000 linear feet of water main to be replaced, so pretty extensive at this point. That replace all the cast iron you're looking at. And alternative 4, this is the most extensive alternative. This would be replacement of all mains older than 30 years old, so this would be 111,000 linear feet of water main replacement. And each of these alternatives could be split into different phases. They don't have to be done all at once. That could reduce the amount of debt the village takes on at one time. Next slide. So here's another visualization. This is just of what would be done under alternative 1. So everything in red, that would be a water main that's replaced. And work would also be done on that storage tank. You can kind of see, even though it's a little small, and on the booster pump station. So next slide. So alternative 2, we're adding work on everything in blue, which is the asbestos cement piping, so that would be replaced as well. Next slide. And then this slide, we're adding stuff that's over 70 years old, so even more would be replaced. As you can see, it's in yellow. Next slide. And then this is the final alternative 4, the most extensive, where we'll be replacing everything older than 30 years old. So that's in green. Next slide. These are the estimated probable capital costs.
Speak to that?
Sure.
So I know that that's the thing that everybody's thinking is, okay, so we're talking about replacing miles and miles of piping and repainting tanks and pump stations. What is this going to cost? A lot. So as everybody knows, and this is not going to be news to any of you, when you put assets like piping underground and then revisit them 100 years later, they are not going to be in good shape. So we know that in order to protect drinking water quality within the village, there is a project coming. How much of that project we do in the immediate term or in the next 10 to 20 years is what we're here to discuss. We won't figure it out tonight. Tonight's the beginning of the story. Figuring it out is going to take place over the next several months, if not years. But we broke down those projects into different costs so that you could see what we think the construction would look like, contingency or fluff factor, because we can't see underground and we also don't know what the project's going to look like a year from now. What it would cost for your engineering, legal, and administrative costs, and then the bottom line number, which is the highest one. So I'm just going to talk in general numbers. For alternative 1, approximately $17 million. And then you go to $32 million for alternative 2, about $43 million for alternative 3, and just over $47 million for alternative 4. So in sitting down and discussing this with the village, with your operators, and looking at the construction climate and what would give the village the biggest flexibility moving forward, we're recommending alternative 1, which is probably a relief to people as I look in the audience here. But we're recommending alternative 1. Number 1, because it's not the minimum. The minimum would be doing nothing, right? But it does the least amount in terms of cost in order to bring the system up to DOH standards. But also it offers the village some flexibility. If you were to take on, for example, alternative 2 or 3 or 4 and pour twice as much money into the system, then the village is really locked into future ownership. Doesn't really leave you the flexibility to turn it over to the Erie County Water Authority, who might be willing to take on the system and manage it and take on the village's debt for it. We want to leave that opportunity open. So we're looking at alternative 1 right now. Camden is going to walk through a little bit of the detail regarding what that includes, and then we'll talk about what is the actual impact to the residents' pocketbooks if and when this project goes through, and then what we are going to do over the next several weeks and months to lessen that impact as much as possible.
Well, yeah, thanks, Nick. As you mentioned, alternative 1, this is kind of like the minimum to get the system a little bit more modernized, up to standards. So as I mentioned before, 37,000 linear feet of water main would be replaced on this alternative, as well as rehabilitation of the water storage tanks and the Elmwood Ave booster pump station. In the village's 2026 capital plan, 10 streets were listed as priorities, streets that had frequent water main breaks or leaks. 8 of those would be covered in this plan alone. So we'd be covering most of the areas in the village that experience a lot of issues currently. Yeah, and we can divide it into smaller projects and phase it out if necessary. Next slide, please. So this is a breakdown of what costs would look like based on different financing scenarios. So worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario would be if we get a market rate loan and no grant money whatsoever. As you can see, that would be an estimated debt of $407 per year per user, additional debt. We also created another financing scenario that would include getting an EFC subsidized loan and no grant, which should be very feasible. We just need to apply for it. You can get a subsidized loan that's a good amount below market rate, so that would reduce costs by a little bit. sorry, the worst case scenario would be $409 in debt cost per year, and your current water rates are $407 per user per year. I'm sorry for the confusion. So the subsidized loan would bring the cost down to $344 per user per year additional debt cost. But we, BNL, and the village, of course, would like to get grant money to reduce the cost per users, of course. So we create some scenarios that would include grant money. So it might be possible that we get a congressionally directed spending grant. That would be $2 million estimated, so that would reduce costs further down to $305 yearly debt costs. And the best case scenario would be a WIA grant. This is a water grant run by New York State. So this could bring the cost down to initial $245 per user per year. So, I mean, it's going to be some amount of money, obviously, but we do everything we can to reduce the cost to users, I guess. Do you have anything to add about this, Nick?
No, I think that's a really good summary. I would just say that the reason that we're here presenting tonight, as I said at the beginning, was this preliminary engineering report is your business case. This is the village's effort on behalf, by your elected officials, on behalf of you folks, to put together a business case that will allow your consultant, which is us, to go out, approach the state, approach the federal government, and go after some of that grant money, which a lot of times is difficult for a village like yours to obtain because you have a pretty high median household income. Right now, according to the 2023 American Community Survey, the median household income in the village is just over $100,000, which is higher than the state and national average MHI. That will make it difficult to get some of the traditional grants through the state program. However, at BNL, what we do really, really well is we have really good relationships with the funding agencies. We placed a couple of calls to the funding agencies, to the health department. They've outlined 1 or 2 grant programs that they think, despite the MHI of the village could be a very good candidate for, provided we have this business case together. So the next step in the process is we will get this project listed on the New York State Drinking Water State Revolving Fund for the 2027 intended use plan. Lots of fancy words, just means makes it funding eligible. Then we're going to spend the next couple of months applying for as much grant money as we can possibly get. And the goal of this is to construct a capital plan that improves as many assets from that alternative one within the village as possible for the minimum amount of money impact to the village users as possible. Which is exactly what I just said. I don't need to read you that. Okay. Questions from the board?
Yep, yeah, that's fun, eh? It is what it is.
I guess I would just want to say, I would just want to summarize it by saying, don't take this as apocalyptic or anything like that, but the project, what we just talked about, this project is coming. The question that the board is working on answering in a responsible way is, do we want to move forward with this project in a reactionary fashion where we wait, we don't bite off $17 million, and then when something goes wrong, we fix it. And we do that bits and pieces, death by 1,000 cuts over the next 30 years? Or do we want to package it up into a capital project and try and take advantage of as much funding as possible and economy of scale by doing as much of it now as is reasonable? So I don't say that to make it sound doom and gloom, but we do want to make sure that the village residents are aware of the situation.
Any questions to the board?
Are fire hydrants involved in this study as well?
Yes. What you looked at involves, I believe, alternative one revolves replacing all the problem hydrants, right? Yeah.
All hydrants are mainly on the 4-inch mains. The fire department, I believe, reported that they are having issues opening them. So if we replace all of the water mains that are 4 inches, that would also entail the replacement of all of the fire hydrants that are connected in there. So yeah, that would address the problem hydrants.
Got it. But we were sufficient on quantity and placement and everything like that?
In terms of quantity and location, yes. The issue is having enough fire flow.
Yep.
I think we as a board have to tackle this issue and make some difficult decisions moving forward together with the community. I wanted to have this out in the open so that we're all understanding where we're starting from. And how we proceed, of course, we'll want to have robust community input, and we'll want to work through those issues the best possible. Unfortunately, we do have a very high water bill already. One bond is ending next year, right, Maureen?
Yep.
So that helps us out a bit, but obviously, we're not going to do anything catastrophic or quick, but it is something that we need to be concerned about and something we need to deal with. Even though option one is sounding quite nice, where we just, but we need to address it.
With option one, we would then have the potential to give it to Erie County, right? And then there's also the potential that it would be cheaper of a water bill because there's not that, because we have an extra fee kind of, right? In terms of.
So we would have to negotiate the terms of that with Erie County Water Authority, but that is a possibility we need to look into. And then it will be a community decision whether we want to have our own system or give up that independent system to Erie County Water and financially be a bit more stable.
The other, I think, thing to consider is that this project definitely has ripple effects. The water mains are generally in the middle of the road. Some of those roads are also slated for reconstruction. They're on the capital plan packaged together with the water main projects. That would hit the general fund and not the water fund, but either way, it's going to hit what residents are paying for.
Well, and that is one of the salient points you bring up is that the costs we have in there would include restoration of services. So anything that we have water main wise that's impacting roads, you can assume that any roads that we disturb during the water main project will get done as part of that water main project. So there is a little bit of a double dipping effect there where anything you have in your capital plan for road improvements that gets disturbed during the water main project, it's only going to come out of one of those buckets. So either that number would come down or the number in your capital budget for roads would come down. I don't know how much of that is because I have to plead ignorance when talking about your capital budget, but there probably is some net gain
Yeah,
there.
so they'll break out the projects and they'll say what part of it is water and what part is general. And when we do the bond resolutions, we'll have to do for water and general and.
But that basically includes the full road reconstruction then, right? It's not just like the little repair in the area where the water main happened to be.
It depends. For water main that's like down, a traffic lane, yeah, you're gonna do the road. If your water main that's close to the shoulder, you're probably just rebuilding the shoulder and curbing and any of that. Yeah, good question.
Okay, thank you.
There are a lot of unknowns. Is that part of the contingency, or
Yes.
that's part of the contingency?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because this is gonna develop over the next couple of years, and I would love to tell you that I know what it's gonna look like right now, but yes.
In the end, yeah. So speakers and communications, yeah, that's one more. Yeah.
It's about this subject.
Yeah. So.
Is there a way to get that map without the red lines? Because I have red-green deficiency, and I could not tell.
I am certain we can take care of that for you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
We can say it was all bad. It wasn't very good.
Apparently, Trustee Bojanowski, like all of us, was looking when his street would be on the plan and which one.
I couldn't tell.
We are a lot of the unknown, is why I asked.
Yeah, I'm unknown too.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Certainly.
We'll be working on it in the future.
Yep.
I think that we may have some questions that we'll get by email and things afterwards, so we'll be in touch. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to speakers and communications. One communication is the town application GML 239M referral area variance request about 559 South Street. This is a notification from the town. If anyone has any thoughts, we don't really have a say, but it is a notification if you have any thoughts or comments on that. Okay. And now we can open it up for anyone in the audience to speak on any issue that they would like to bring to the village board's attention, and we'll leave it to 3 minutes as well.
Jump in the line.
That's it. You heard from you already.
Chief Welsh? Yep. Chief Welsh, if you could intervene, take care of this gentleman.
Take me away, I haven't had dinner yet.
I believe we have one officer who would really like to participate in that.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would. Thank you very much. Patrick Shea, 486 Griggs Place. I want to make a comment to the new trustees. Welcome to the board. Give it 4 years. You'll feel like you're graduating high school for all the stuff you're going to have to learn and assimilate to, and you'll end up with gray hair like me. 2011 was when the stop sign went in front of the mayor's house. I remember that for some stupid reason. The stop sign issue, I don't mean to read, at that time too, there was an issue because that was a county road putting a sign there, but the county relented. And then there was a request to put one over in front of the hotel on Olean, and they were giving the board hassles about that too, and they relented. So my point being is don't let that get in the way of pursuing even getting a stop sign over on Pine. So a little history lesson there. And the water issue, 20 years ago, when we turned the sewers over to the county, the water wouldn't touch the village because of the age of the water system. The only objection I had at that time was the village residents would be paying for it, and then it goes to the county. The bill stays with the village. The county doesn't take that over. So you're still paying that capital project and having no control over the system at all. Maybe that's changed in 20 years. But the real reason why I'm here tonight is for a request from the Rotary Club. One, we're doing our bike run our bike collection every year, and every year we ask the board if there are surplus bikes being held by the DPW that can be released by the police department to donate for our collection. The bikes end up going to Go Bike Buffalo, which use the bikes for young people to teach them how to operate a bike, and then they take the bike, or they surplus the bikes to raise more money to do a lot of the bike-related issues, and knowing how we're trying to push more and more bike safety and bike issues. I would like it if the board would allow these guys to release the bikes to the Rotary, and we'll be collecting them, I think, in the second or third Saturday of June. So if I have okay to talk to them about that, it's up to you.
Yeah, we spoke also about the combining with the Dare to Repair Cafe.
Yeah.
That's in August, so I don't know if that timing works for the Rotary
Well,
Club.
we would change it. If that is agreeable, we'll do the collection into August, if that's
I did approach the town climate smart community about that, and they're going to go to the board and ask about that. So that's one piece that we have remaining, but I think next week we'll have an answer on that.
Okay, great. I fulfilled my obligation that I came here before you guys, and what a thrill it was. And
I didn't get the joke.
Oh, well, you will. And the last one was one of our board members had noticed the Roycroft Pavilion in the park. The sign is starting to look a little old, and we would be requesting if we could have the sign taken down off the stage, and the Rotary would pay to have it refurbished and cleaned up, if that's okay with the board.
Yeah. I think that's great. Appreciate it.
No, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, well.
If you're all in agreement.
I don't think we need formal board action.
Okay, all right, well, just so that
are they on our?
The bike has to be surplus if they.
Right.
We're going to have to surplus that, but we can do that in a future meeting, yeah.
Okay.
I personally don't have any issue with that. I know you've done it in the past, and.
Yeah, numerous. I think this is maybe our third or fourth time that we've done the surplus like that.
Yeah, I think we did the big legal go-round the first year, and everything was kosher.
Yeah. Okay.
We need to keep one bike for Jeff so he can ride with me on the bike bus occasionally, but other than that.
I've got one for you, Jeff. If really, you can use mine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Joanne Ryan, 211 Porterville. I just wanted to quickly give you, being a school teacher, a summary and a solution. So the last traffic study that took place was December 17th after the school was closed from a blizzard, and there was a young lady sitting in a car just with a clicker counting. When the report came back, there was a report to the village that there was no traffic accidents at all at the curve at Porterville and Pine, which is not true. I live there. I've seen, like I said, Mercy Flight, et cetera, come in. I used to have big stones because they used to be, it was a hazard to be in my driveway, and yes, it was my mother-in-law that would squirt down the speeders on the street. So a solution is that I would like, and we've talked about this, I would be more than happy to meet with anybody here with Erie County if you guys need some help. I would love to see Mr. Geary, who's in charge of Erie County with the Public Works, to come out and look at all of these intersections that go into where this curve is. I would love for him to come. We've had Lindsay Larigo twice out to that area. She is well aware of it with her, the person that runs her office, Mason. They have been there, and I am just offering my services. I would be more than happy to help whoever would like help because, like I said, these traffic studies, I find it hard to believe 200 cars, and like I said, Parkdale, I can't see how 200 cars are going down Parkdale, and I can't see how 200 cars are going down Linden. And when I stand there at our corner, and it is, like I said, there are tons and tons of cars that have ended up in our front yard. And like I said, the other issue is sinking ponds and the DPW. It's really, really a dangerous situation. So my solution is if anybody would like, I would be more than happy to meet with Mr. Geary and have him come out and actually look at this because I don't think they really fully understand what we're talking about. Okay? Thank you so much.
Stephen Smith, somewhere on Centre Street. This will be real quick. I was listening to the water board, and they're going to start digging up the roads. It'd be nice if you started on Pine Street and Centre, slow the traffic down. But in all seriousness, if we've got one organisation making modifications to the road to stick pipes underneath and having to dig them up, maybe we can start reconstructing the roads in a manner that starts to help calm down the traffic. Sort of sow that seed in your head when you're looking at budgets and that kind of stuff. So, two birds with one stone sort of thing.
Okay, seeing no one else.
3 hours. Jen Burzell, 115 Blake Hill Road. It's the strangest thing. I get really nervous when I speak in front of this board for some reason. I can speak everywhere else but here. Welcome, new members. So glad you're here, and thank you for being a part of the community. And you're about to delve into a lot of long emails and rants and people and things and topics. So thank you for doing that. I just wanted to bring something to the attention so we don't forget about it, and hoping that the new trustees take some time to review what has been happening on Walnut Street and now the corner of Pine and Girard via Alliance Homes. They are the developers that developed Walnut Street, and this might seem like I'm going in the past, but it does circle back to present time, so just bear with me for 1 second. They are the developers that developed Walnut Street. They built the 6 houses, yada, yada. I think we all know about that. Since that project has started, it has been over 4 years now. They initially had said it would take about 1.5 years. It's not complete. They are completing the last house right now, which is massive and happens to be the owner of the Alliance Homes home. He's building himself his own house, which is fine. You can do that. The way that they have it set up right now, the driveway is currently encroaching on the Benders, the neighbor's driveway, and right up smack on his tree line. Most definitely damaging those current trees, 100%. I know Liz Cassidy has said that that's a utility driveway and that won't be the end result driveway, so I'm really hoping that that is the case and that we can stay on top of that. In addition, on Walnut Street, I don't want to speak on behalf of the neighbors. I want them to do that on their own, but I do know for a fact that because they've all spoken and told me, and actually have also reiterated this directly to Luke, that their yards are flooding, massive damage to their backyards from the Walnut Street development that was built on top of natural springs, wetlands. Neighbors came here over and over, spoke up against it, said they're building on wetlands, there's springs there, there's too much water, it's going to be an issue. It's now an issue. The neighbors on Walnut, their yards are flooded. They're having issues in their own homes. There's also many ecological issues currently happening in the back of Walnut Street. In addition to that, there's water from sump pumps from the homes being dumped into the street. If any of you drive down Walnut, you can see the street flooding on the one side where the homes are. From 24/7, the water doesn't stop pumping into the street. That is going to cause long-term damage to the street and the infrastructure of Walnut Street, in which the villagers and the taxpayers will have to pay to fix. Also, in addition, Walnut Street is torn to shreds now. It is, you drive down it and your car blah, 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 because of 4 years of big construction trucks going up and down the street. I was told when I inquired about that, once again, the village and the taxpayers are going to have to fix that street. We can't hold the developer responsible. It's just legal.
30 seconds.
Oh, shoot, I didn't get to my point. Okay, so come to present time, these developers are now working on Pine Street. They're about to install 3 homes on Pine. I really hope, shame on us as a community if we don't pay attention to what they're doing. So I really encourage you as the new members to dig into both Pine and Development Project and Walnut, and just please pay attention to this and make sure we do what's right for our community. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, department head report. We'll start with General Crew Chief Stoll.
This week we got the graduation banners up. When it's dry and not raining, we're going to be out patching streets. They were out today around Shear Avenue, South Grove, North Grove, that area. The next, we're keeping up on brush every week, and hopefully we get some dry weather we're going to be patching like crazy. And paving looks like we're going to be milling around beginning of June and then paving at the end of June.
Okay, thanks. Chief Welsh?
Yes, as you mentioned earlier, my evening shift supervisors have been attending the pedestrian bike committee meetings, and we'll continue having them attend those meetings as manpower permits. As many of you are aware, this past Saturday we had a community event, Coffee with a Cop, at McDonald's. Nobody from Center Street or Pine Street came to talk to me over a coffee about the speed issues, so apparently no coffee drinkers are in here, but it was a good event. I have met with Trustee Root and our grant writer, Robin Drake, over a lot of the proposals and ideas moving forward for police department equipment issues and building issues. I've got a meeting coming up this week with the mayor and a local resident who's a forester, an employee with the DEC, to again address our issue with deer population. We have a meeting tomorrow, the mayor and I, and that's with these 6 town supervisors to go over a plan for dispatch staffing for now and in the future. And the 2 cars from the previous fiscal year are finally going to auction. They had to be repaired. We found that they were still under warranty, so we had them repaired as well as we could so that we can get the most for them when they hit the auction block, which will be very soon. At the end of all of that, I'll talk about the beating that the police department took tonight about speeding. And I'll tell you that the 18 officers of the East Aurora Police Department work hard every single day, and we drive it into them to go out and enforce vehicle and traffic. We average about 150 to 200 traffic tickets every month, and I think we do a very good job with 18 officers. I think if you take comparable towns and villages to our population size, I think you see police departments with twice as many officers that we have. So if I was to have that many officers, I think you'd see a lot more tickets, but we do what we do because things cost money. That said, that's all I have.
Thank you. Engineer, any thoughts for tonight? Okay.
No, I don't have anything to add, other than separately, actually, I said I used to be on the bicycle pedestrian board, and that was the existing report from, 17 years ago now. That was covered, so some of these issues, what?
Microphone.
Yes, John Sunquist from B&L, and so I just want to mention I did, when I was on the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee, so it's actually not technically B&L, there was some studies done back then, probably ended up on a shelf, actually it's not on a shelf, that's why I had to dig it out of my email, so hopefully that's a little bit useful to the committee, which is good. And then just to reiterate what Nick said is that it's up to the board. You know, we're not here saying you need to come and spend $17 million, you know, tomorrow, right now. That's a decision the board has to make, you know, and, but as I think Nick pointed out, that if you don't make, you know, we have to make a positive decision one way or the other as far as spending it now or spending a little bit over time and you know, and make that calculation, so. Other than that, I'll talk to Jeff. I'm in constant, you know, about details, but I have nothing to add right now. So.
Jesse on the tree board, or Jen, I don't know if you have any issues. Try going around the room here. Oh, tree board, yep. Planning board, anything? No?
Well, sure. Okay. I was actually going to say something as a community member. Can I do that instead?
I would do that in the other.
Yeah, we already did that.
Then no, nothing from planning.
You may feel free to mention what you'd like at the planning board meeting tomorrow. Code Enforcement Officer Cassidy.
I just want to say thank you to the board members who met and discussed the concerns and the comments on the demolition code, and to the Historic Preservation Commission also for their work on that. I think we've got a more clear section of the code to work from going forward. So thank you for that.
Great. Water Foreman Holt. Anything?
No, I'm good.
Nope. Okay. All right, up to the board. Where do we start from the left or the right? I don't remember. Trustee Lazikas, we'll start with you.
Nothing in the past. Tomorrow night, we have a Parks Committee meeting. Part of the agenda will be a grant for a possibly upgrading the playground.
Good.
That's it.
Trustee Cameron?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Deputy Mayor Root?
Yes, we met, like you said, with the grant writer, and that was fantastic. We also are setting a meeting up with Liz, and then reaching out to Chief Moss as well about needs and desires over there. The Bike and Pedestrian Board, that was a great meeting. I think it surpassed all of their expectations, basically came with a list of larger, longer-term projects, and then quick, easy wins. And it was a great compilation of people that were there, so we had a lot of different insight. And then that's it.
Great. Trustee Bojanowski, or Raby? Bojanowski.
Okay. Last week, I went over to DPW. I got to meet the crew. That was really cool. Also seeing all the big, huge snowplows. That was awesome. Also, I went to Coffee with a Cop to get even more caffeine that day after I already drank lots of coffee, and that was also enjoyable. Tomorrow I'll be at the Parks meeting, and then there's the meeting that I'll be doing with you with the pilot recycling bins.
Trustee Kemp?
Nothing to add, thanks.
Trustee Raby?
All good, thank you.
We forgot, did I forget village clerk treasurer?
Tax bills, I'm gonna see if blue tax bills, they're coming soon, people, I'm sorry.
They're beautiful for me now, but, okay, I'm going to try to go quickly because we know that we have high schoolers in the back who want to get out of here. I was at the town board meeting. We spoke about a number of things. Number one was having coordination meetings once a quarter. They were in agreement with that. I think we need to set a date if the board is okay with that, and think about appointing who would like to be liaison to the town board for those meetings. We also spoke about combining our climate smart community task forces, even though we don't have one. They also were fine with that. And last, we spoke about the cornhole competition that I had proposed June 10th. The supervisor cannot make it to that, so now proposing June 20th. So let me know what you think of that date. It might be too late, or we may have to go without the supervisor. We'll see. So I'll send an email about that. I was at the Rotary Club and spoke. We spoke about that. We met with Waste Management, spoke about long-term implementing some composting, introducing composting drop-off, and trying to work to be looking at compost pickup down the road. We spoke about adding an additional recycling dumpster for a drop-off of corrugated cardboard as a way to ease people's concerns with not having enough room in recycling. And we also spoke about adding some recycle bins on Main Street where there are only trash receptacles. So Trustee Bojanowski mentioned we have a meeting tomorrow. The original artist of our beautiful trash bins is not Trustee Bojanowski, but Tom Bojanowski. And he is willing to meet with us together with Rotary, who made the initial donation, and ACES, who have some ideas on designs that work, where you can only keep cans in those receptacles. But we'll look to pilot 2 recycle bins on Main Street and see how effective they are. We met with the Roycroft to talk about the shipping building that has been on this agenda before. We met with the engineers. I met with the July 4th Planning Committee. Nothing to report there. Things are moving forward. Looks to be a great event as always. We identified some of the trees and work that was done on Hamlin with a landscape architect and our arborist, and with Jeff and with Nancy Smith. Nothing to report there as we move forward. We attended Arbor Day, 2 Arbor Day festivities. One was at the high school where we planted the tree. Thank you to the school for inviting us. And Trustee Camp was there. And also at Parkdale where Deputy Root was there. And anyone else? I don't think. After the bike bus where we were able to plant a tree down there. I attended the Association of Erie County Governments. Nothing to report there other than you are welcome to join me if you'd like to be going to those. They did clarify that it is a mayoral decision of who can come, so we can bring more people to that. We met with the American Legion to talk about a couple of things, banners, and this is with Jeff, banners and the sewage connection. Met several times with our grant writer, met with the governor's office and the Regional Economic Development Council about grant work, including a New York Forward and Downtown Revitalization Initiative. I sent that email. I think that's going to be a lot of work and important to understand this year, but we are a very good candidate for that type of funding. We did receive that in West Falls. That does not seem to be a hindrance to us receiving it in East Aurora. That would be $4.5 or $12.5 million in funds for businesses, nonprofits, and the municipality in revitalizing our Main Street. And we continue to conduct interviews, which brings me to our next point, which is to enter into an executive session where we will discuss several personnel issues, the administrator interviews, a proposed contractual agreement, and the village attorney. And with that, any other thoughts, or can I get a motion to enter into executive session?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Raby. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Bojanowski.
Camp. You'll learn my name one of these days.
Trustee Camp, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. High schoolers, if you need us to sign something, come on up. You picked a terrible meeting to come to.